Good morning. Welcome to ExperienceMore Tour. My name is Marshall, and I am here today to discuss the ReBIRD program with Arc'teryx. GORE-TEX makes lots of really interesting laminates, right? And we work with what we call our trademark licensees or our brand partners to co-develop some of these products, right? We don't do the design, but we do the testing at the end. And we're also working very closely with our TMLs, specifically with Arc'teryx, to co-develop technologies that not only last an extremely long time. Longevity is so important to us, but also as part of that, be able to be easy to be maintained and also easy to repair. And that technology of repair continues to move forward. And Arc'teryx has developed really kind of upped this quite a bit with making it extremely easy to do. And as we're going to see today, there are some interesting new technologies for quick and easy repair that allow us to get our garments back out there and being used over and over and over again. A lot of what we're going to talk about today falls under this umbrella of what we call, or what Arc'teryx calls ReBIRD. And so we're going to see the different pillars of ReBIRD today and really get a deep understanding into how this program operates and what it is. And so to do that, we wanted to find the person who knows the most about ReBIRD. And Arc'teryx reached out and they provided us with Avery Bott, who is a remarkable individual who knows so much about repair and care, and then also the how to make it all work across all of their different brand stores and warranty centers and all of that. It's remarkable how complicated it is and how easy Avery is going to make it seem for us. So let's bring up Avery, and it is a real thrill to have you, Avery, with us today. Welcome to the ExperienceMore Tour.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm so flattered of all the kind words you said about me. Yes, my name is Avery. I work with Arc'teryx as the ReBIRD training lead. So to us, that means anything involving training for circularity, repairs, sustainability, and warranty. So I work very closely with brand stores. We have a lot of very special brand stores that also have what we call ReBIRD Service Center in them. So I've been with Arc'teryx for about 5 years. My background is I come from co-ops, shout out Whole Earth Provision. It's like a Texas local, if anyone's ever heard of it.
Awesome store. Yep.
Yeah, and before that, I was a figure skating instructor, so I have a big passion of making learning accessible to anyone and everyone, no matter kind of what your background is. And so I started out at like an entry-level position with Arc'teryx and sort of annoyed my way up there into working and helping out launch the first ever service center back in 2021. So in 2021 in New York City, we launched the first ever ReBIRD service center. So instead of filling out an online form, what we were trying out is what if we did this in person? What if we had some equipment there? What if we had some patching? And we just kind of experimented and we just kind of tried to see like what that guest experience would be. And so from that point, we were like basically the guinea pigs of it. And I started making like training materials and just sort of helping out other like service centers that existed. And it turned into last year helping open service centers in 5 different countries last year. And we have so many more things coming this year. I'm just very, very passionate about sharing my knowledge and showing how easy and fun working with, all of these gore materials and patching and repairs and just being there to support the guests, like how fun that kind of experience can be.
Right. It's like taking this after sales, this aftercare kind of idea and making it fun and exciting and accessible to everybody. So it's not a pain. It's not like, oh, I have to warranty my jacket. It's like I get to go in and get it repaired. It's this really neat slant of this. And as we're going to see, it does have a lot of sustainability vibe to it, and also I just really, and it is helping Arc'teryx along the way. Like it's like you buy into this ecosystem, you get all of this. It's really cool, and you're able to then train folks at all of your different stores about how to best interact with the guest on this. and also it sounds like develop some of the ideas on how to best do this, which is really cool. Like it is such a cool job that you have, and it's neat that you, like you said, you sort of not forced your way. You said annoyed your way into it, which is this is a perfect way to explain it, right? Sometimes the squeaky wheel does get the grease here. And now you've worked at other places, and now you're working at ARC. So what is something that you really, now that you work internally at ARC, that you, now that you have this sort of internal knowledge that you wish everybody knew, or something you wish you had known about Arc'teryx before you'd come into it?
Yeah, absolutely. I love to think of my position as kind of like the brand is my oyster. So I can take this concept of rebirth that we have and sort of evolve on it and show everyone that this is like the heart of our values for our brand. Before I started working for Arc'teryx, I was somewhat unfamiliar with some of like what those values that we stood behind as a brand. I know that other brands like Patagonia, it's like very upfront with how they express those values. But the more I sort of looked into us as a brand and the values that we stand behind, there's a lot, like so much that we do outside of that initial transaction to care for our guests. You'll see that some of these offerings that we have in our ReBIRD service centers are complementary because Arc'teryx, our goal is to prioritize keeping that longevity of not only the product, but also the guest within that. So I think it's really amazing to get someone to come into one of our ReBIRD service centers completely unfamiliar with what it is and sort of like open this oyster of a world of like values that we stand behind as a brand.
Yeah, I mean, I know Arc'teryx has always valued longevity of product, right? From day one working with Arc'teryx back in the late 90s, the focus was on durability and longevity of product, right? And challenging Gore-Tex year over year after many variations of Pro and other products to create products that are more durable. And longevity has been a big part of that. But then to be able to double down on longevity to like, okay, cool, but things will wear out. So how do we then keep them in that use phase? And then maybe we get tired of products, right? And we want to resell them and helping with that and all these variabilities. And to see that you're in there trying to, like you said, develop this and grow this program is interesting and those different aspects of longevity. There's so many ways to look at it. Well, let's take a look at ReBIRD, right? So it is a broad term at this point. It's a great term, but what are the different pillars of ReBIRD? What are the various programs of ReBIRD that as they stand today?
Yeah, so like I said, ReBIRD is to me, it's sort of like the heart of the values that we stand behind as a brand. And ReBIRD is the way that we sort of encapsulate that and express that. So within ReBIRD, a big part of this is just educating on care. So we've worked the past few years on making lots of materials, such as like videos on how to wash, how to do small repairs, available for anyone on the internet. We have a lot of resources on our website that we're making super, super sort of like digestible and user-friendly to see. Other things that we have are we also have a resell program. So you're able to trade in your Arc'teryx product as long as it's any kind of genuine Arc'teryx product and it qualifies. So there's like a short list of certain like products or materials that don't qualify. But for the most part, it's almost everything. And so you're able to trade it in for 20% credit. And then actually, a few more days in April, we have our trade-in month, which is where you'll get 30% credit back. But if you miss it, it's okay. We also do this in September as well, but it's sort of our kind of promotion around Earth Day. And so other parts of this that we also have are the ReBIRD Service Center, which is sort of our like peak display of ReBIRD. It's our biggest way of how we connect with our clientele on care, and it's sort of like that that bridge that connects us to the guest outside of like just being on like the retail floor of like selling new product.
So we have the sort of ReCare, which is like almost an educational initiative, right? Make it easy to understand. So because if you're not aware of how to do it, you're not going to do it. So we have that. You have this fantastic resale program, and we're going to take a closer look at that, how it all really connects to what we're talking about with the service centers and the various service centers that you've been developing, where you can touch the customers directly and really get people stoked. So, and I want to dive into kind of each of these pillars as we move through this. And I want to really focus right now on the service centers because this is awesome and neat to see that from that initial. I remember when Aaron Long showed us a picture 4 years ago of like, look at what we're doing, and it was at that initial service center, and we're just like, wow, that is so cool. And then now look where it is, right, with these service centers.
Right.
So let's begin with like service centers. So if you want to come into a service centers, what type of services are available to folks at service centers?
So we have a few different tiers of service centers. It's basically how much equipment or kind of service they have available to offer.
Hmm.
In this picture that we're seeing right here is our ReBIRD service center in London. This particular service center is one of our highest volume for our wash services.
Hmm.
So we go on what are sort of like tiers. So think of it kind of like as a pyramid going up. Uh, the bottom tier, which is what we call tier 3, is just going to be a brand store without a service center. So some of those are going to have like small like toolboxes that they can use. There's kind of small patching. Then we have tier 2, which is a service center with a limited capability. So they're not going to have a wash service. Then we have tier 1, which is like the one that we're seeing right here. They're going to have a wash service in here. So they're going to be at full capabilities. And then on top of that, tier 1 is what we call alpha. So our alpha service centers are where we're going to also have on-site operators. So for a lot of different kinds of repairs that we don't have the same equipment that they're going to have like at a traditional like big repair center. So for those repairs, we do have to send some of those away. We do this complimentary for the guest as well. But for this service center here, this is our Alpha Service Center in Bloor, Toronto. And so for this one, they have 2 on-site operators that are able to do the same function and repairs as someone at our headquarters repair center. So instead of sending your product away, it never leaves this ReBIRD service center. So with that kind of like alpha name to it, alpha is what we coin as like our product of the highest innovation. We're constantly evolving it. We're constantly trying to find new ways of making our product stronger, last longer, more durable. And so we've coined that as within our service centers, this is where we're trying to make like the best of the best like capabilities and offerings for our guests. In this photo here, this is our Alpha Broadway Service Center. This is in Soho, New York City. And so this is sort of like, this is going to be the highest capability service center that we have. And it's really amazing to see something like this because where I originally came from was the pilot, which was in the same neighborhood, but it was much, much smaller.
Yeah.
And to compare it to what we have now, which is where we have this amazing capabilities where the product never leaves the store. Even in a service center like this, if you trade in your product, they might fix it there and resell it as part of their resale program. So I know that's like a lot of information to take in, but
No,
it's
but
like,
it's I love
yeah,
this
it's so
concept
amazing to see all of this. Yeah.
I mean, you cover these tiers, right? So for sure, you can go to any Arc'teryx store, any brand store, and get serviced. But the levels as we move up with how much capability is in each store, how much training you've been able to accomplish in each store is going to bump that up. But if a store can't handle what you need to be done, that's when we connect with, call it the mothership, right? Where then now the product can go back to Arc'teryx and get repaired as well, or wherever it needs to go, wherever the experts are. But as you've built up this tier of alpha stores, and I imagine this is growing, these are the full capabilities. And I can imagine like this is one of the definitions of circularity. You can bring your broken, used product in. It can get refurbished, right? First of all, washed and then refurbished, and then be back out on the sales floor in a matter of days for other folks to be able to, enjoy your product, giving that product, more days of adventure, and lowering the overall footprint of that product over its lifespan. It's really a remarkable concept to be able to do that. Now, I'm going to dive in a little bit in the weeds because this takes expertise to do this. You need to have people who know how to A, assess product, B, fix it, and then C, as the case may be, need to re-sew it, re-seam tape it. As we know at Gore, these are highly technical folks who've been trained up on this. Where are you finding people to do this? It is challenging in North America to find folks who truly are committed to this. How are you sort of finding people, and what are you doing to train them up so that they understand how to build within the Arc'teryx ecosphere?
Yeah, that's like one of the things that I really, really love. Just kind of seeing how ReBIRD is expressed, not only in different stores, but also in different countries as well. For somewhere like New York City, we might get a mix of fashion students, but also maybe some students who went to school for theater. So they're very like expressive of, and they're really great at that guest experience.
Hmm.
What I find is there's a lot of people who share that same passion for sustainability, who are very, very eager to work in the service center, not only to kind of pursue their interest of sustainability, but also provide that guest experience that's not just selling new product. And so for our new service centers that we open, we do a week-long intensive training. So it's going to be like about 6 to 8 hours a day for 4 or 5 days that we go through. And we go through theory, we practice with the equipment, and then we go over what those conversations look like, what kind of body language to use when working in the service center.
Hmm.
And I find that the most successful groups are a mix of different backgrounds and interests, because I like to think of this service center as like your kitchen, and these are all the cooks in your kitchen, and you have to sort of have this very fluid like way of working together. There's a lot of cooks in the kitchen, so you have to find ways to like work with each other very well. I'm sure all of you with store experience know that this is the same thing of working at any store. But for some places that are very high volume, like it's very, very fast pace. But I also find that even without any sort of background in fashion or repairs, sustainability, outdoor retail, I always love to find a way to sort of make this like an open experience for everyone. So to my trainings, I welcome anyone of really any background. You just have to be eager to learn and experience this.
And I love what I'm seeing is even on the socials, like that Arc'teryx is putting out, right? There's athletes and they get a lot of great social media presence, and it's always exciting to see what athletes are up to. But there are also your sewers, and they are people, and they're doing remarkable things with the products, and they're also getting kudos for what they're doing in some of the social media. It's fun to see these two pillars of sort of experience and technicality and passion being shared out there from Arc'teryx. And that ends up being like some of these repairs, if it goes back into the resale program, these programs then can go back into the stores, and we can then have access to these products that have been refurbished, right, been rebuilt, and often are one of a kind pieces, right? There's some of this creativity and playfulness that can come into rebuilding these pieces. What's the response on some of these resale programs? Has this been popular? Has this been interesting to look at? What have you experienced interacting with the resale programs?
Yeah, I can definitely speak for New York City and say that we find that a lot of our like clientele base, they love unique, special like products, just because it's much more of kind of like a a streetwear fashion forward place. So a lot of these guests love like our kind of vintage product.
Mhm.
They love to see sort of how our materials have evolved over time, like the shapes of like our jackets and like silhouettes and things like that. So really, really big response, very, very positive response. A lot of these products that you might find in our Alpha Broadway service center are products that they might uh, have a guest trade in, and then they might have replaced a panel, and now we're reselling it here. And so if someone buys this within our Broadway service center, they can take it to wash, and it sort of it never leaves this cycle that we're going through. So yeah, for the most part, it's really amazing to like see these past types of products that we have and how we've evolved as a brand. And for a place like uh, Broadway, they have a hard time keeping up with how many people are buying these special, unique, one of one products.
These are out there, right? And your products that you're currently wearing can get back into this use phase, especially if they've been hanging in your closet for a while. And you know, the ability to refurbish and resell is remarkable. And it doesn't have to just happen at the ReBIRD Center, like you said, that you can do it online. The credit goes, if you are in the outdoor industry, the credit can go towards your pro deal as well. Like it's amazing how awesome this program is, and we should all be utilizing it. Now, Avery, because we're talking to sales and retail associates on this call, primarily folks who work in retail are selling Arc'teryx, whether they be at an Arc brand store or at other stores in the wholesale world. I want to get into a little bit more nitty gritty and some details of what we can tell customers as they're purchasing from us. So, what, like a tier 3 and tier 2 service centers, what type of repairs are they capable of? Can you give an example maybe of something that they could fix for folks quickly on the spot?
Yeah, absolutely. So the big part of what differentiates a brand store and a service center, that kind of main piece of the equipment, is the heat press.
Mhm.
So at a tier 2 or tier 1 service center, they're going to have a big machine where they can do heat applied permanent patching. At somewhere like a brand store without a ReBIRD service center, they still do have capabilities for small patching solutions. That's where you can get little cuttings of your tenacious tape. They can replace things like your zipper slider for a lot of different kinds of products there too. They should have some kind of color options
Mhm.
to choose from that as well. And so, um, yeah, I think that's
Right, those are the types of
yeah.
and then assessment capabilities as well at those spaces. And then as we move into these other service centers, the next tier up, and you referenced this, was wash. You're providing wash services for folks if they have wash anxiety, maybe they're afraid to wash at home, or maybe don't have a washer at home. This is a cool add-in that we're starting to see grow. Why offer this wash service, and how are folks using it?
Yeah, so the wash service is, at least when I worked in the service center, that was my favorite part of it. It's really amazing to see one of our guests bring their product, and they're very like unsure and anxious about caring for it, and just being there to be like, yeah, I'm just gonna throw it in our wash. I'm gonna bring it right back to you. Like the service is complimentary, and just seeing them like what? Like you can put it in the washing machine,
Yeah,
and
right.
sort of like relieving that anxiety. So the main purpose of this wash service that we offer is to alleviate that sort of wash anxiety that our customers might have when they buy a Gore-Tex product, or maybe they have a parka or a down garment as well. So at these tier 1 service centers, we offer a complimentary wash service for anything with Gore-Tex in it. That's our genuine product. And also anything with down insulation, because we want to make sure to be there to support our guests with taking care of our product that has specific wash needs to it. We know that Gore-Tex takes special care to promote the longevity of this product.
Yeah, so that is a complimentary service. Folks can use it if that's their exclusive way of washing their jackets. Great, right? Hopefully, though, they get trained up and sort of realize that they can do this at home if they have a washer and dryer, and relieve that wash anxiety. And I know we spent a lot of time on the Experience More tour talking about wash and why it's okay and how we've tested for that and how Arc'teryx has tested for that. But honestly, the best way is to see for guests to see you just putting it in a washing machine. Like, look, it's good, and if things mess up, it's on us. But they don't, and things it's okay to do it. It's great to have that enlightenment and insightfulness. So one of the big well, it's going to happen in garments as we go out is we are going to get little punctures or big tears in our garments as we use them. Hopefully we're buying the right garment for the right purpose, right? We're not taking the Norvan jacket and going out ice climbing with it. You're going to get bigger tears in it more quickly versus something like the Alpha SV, right? There's this concept of fitness for use. But mistakes happen, things happen. We want you to use your gear, and what's going to happen then is we are going to get punctures and tears. And in the olden days, that often meant slapping some duct tape on it and hoping for the best. But as we know, when you go to wash that comes off, right? And so a big part of the ReBIRD program has been developing easy to use technologies that repair some of these punctures in permanent and meaningful ways. And there is a bit of a process to this. And so I do want to talk about the different levels of repair for punctures that Arc'teryx has developed and has offered. And I just want to begin with the simple one, which is tenacious tape, right? This is basically the duct tape for Gore-Tex products. And this should be in everybody's, I'm going to say, put it in your first aid kit because it's first aid for your jacket. And literally it can make your trip way better because if you have a big hole in your jacket, that's a problem and you're going to get wet and cold. So it is an important thing to have around. But why not just end there? Why not just use tenacious tape and say, yeah, that's cool, it's sticky, it's going to work?
Yeah, absolutely. So for tenacious tape, I'm a big passionate lover of tenacious tape. Like just from working outdoor retail and like my experience in the service center, you can't go really wrong with it. We use tenacious tape as a field repair, and we really like it because it doesn't leave a sticky residue like electrical tape or duct tape would. So what I like to do is like if a guest use our wash service, just sneaking a few patches in their pocket when they come to pick it up. Yeah, just having it like as their jacket first aid kit. But we've kind of taken this sort of temporary patching solution and evolved on it to make more permanent solutions. So what you're seeing in the middle is our Gore backer patch. And what we can do is apply a heat applied patch to the inside of your Gore jacket. And so what we're doing is it's melting just a little bit and sealing that tear that would otherwise just be a temporary fix for tenacious tape. For this backer patch, it's going to be permanent. On the front of the fabric, you're just going to kind of see a little scar on it. But that jacket is going to be revitalized and ready to use after we do some of these backer patches. We do some of our leak testing. These are going to be fully permanent and just as strong as using this jacket brand new. Another thing that we've evolved from is you might see a tear that's way too big for one of our backer patches, or it might have a lot of fraying to it, or it might be kind of like a weird zigzag fray. So what we've evolved on is the SV patch. SV is a term that we use for our most durable jackets, such as the Alpha SV, the Beta SV, things like that. And so to us, this is our strongest, most kind of like tenacious patch that we offer. And so we've been sort of inspired by when that like Japanese form of when pottery breaks and you're fixing it with like the little gold detail on it,
Yeah.
and just having that piece of your jacket that's seamless, but it's sort of showing these like battle scars to it. So you can pick from different color options, or you can use like the same, like if it's a black jacket and you do a black patch, it looks very seamless, like there was never even a tear there. So for using these in our service centers, we have really fast ways of repairing very serious patches on jackets without having to send them away for repair and waiting for your jacket to come back.
Yeah, in the old days, this would be a panel replacement or several panel replacement. It's very labor intensive. It's very expensive. And that generally wasn't covered under warranty, right? And so that's a thing that folks had to pay for. And now this SV patch service has been developed, and you're offering this for free in your service centers. And folks can, like you said, they can have fun with it. You've actually got a great video provided with us, and it's a short video, but I do want to show this because I think it'll give folks a little bit of a look into how technical this is and how cool the SV patch really is.
This is what your jacket looks like when it's working. But occasionally, it looks like this. Or this. Or any of these. Thankfully, Arc'teryx created the SV Insert Patch, a new innovation in repair technology.
So the SV Insert Patch is essentially 4 tears and abrasions on our GORE-TEX 3-layer product. So what we do is we take the GORE-TEX 3405006 on the top of Fahrenheit, literally indistinguishable. Amazing. You can see that the inside has found her natural level.
It's magic. The eyesore is removed, and the new patch is applied using a heat-activated technique. It seamlessly replaces the material in under 60 seconds. It's completely waterproof. Made to be invisible, or to stand out. Introducing the SV Insert Patches, for keeping your jackets working like new, over and over and over again.
Yeah, it gives a really great perspective on what can be done. I first saw this last summer at the Squamish Academy, and how fast folks could do it. And people were walking up with jackets that weren't even torn and asking if they could get an SV patch in their jacket. It's such a cool innovation. I mean, that's the perfect innovation, right? One that is not only perfectly functional, but also absolutely desirable. And Arc'teryx has been the master of this since day one, making form and function look like something I want to have on my body, right? And that has been really, I think, it's the continued evolution. If you ask something, what's really cool and new? This SV patch is really cool and really new. It is remarkable and something that's awesome. And so we're going to see this at many of your service centers, the ability to do this, these SV patches. These do need special equipment. It's not something you can do at home like the backer patch, correct?
Correct. Yeah, what you saw in the video is that the first part of it is you're actually cutting out that fabric that's fraying, and then applying the patch from the inside to sort of look seamless. So it's almost like a cookie cutter, and then applying the patch from the inside. And so the color selection comes from that inside of the patch. We have a few different color options, and I just love the way that it just looks very seamless. It looks like it's just part of that fabric to it.
It's perfect, right? And the fact that it has rounded corners to cut off any fraying, because fraying will continue if you have a frayed piece, right? If you get a 7 cut, which is what we call a little cut that like a puncture that turns into a 7, that may stop then and there, and if it's small enough, you can use that backer patch. But other types of cuts can continue to fray even if you use the backer patch, and this stops it. This is like puts a
Right, exactly. It just cuts it completely out.
Yeah, quarantines the tear by removing it completely, and then replaces it with something really cool.
Yeah.
And then we're just getting a question up here again, just to reiterate, like, what does this service cost? Because it used to be when you got a tear in your jacket, you had to pay to fix it. What is this?
Yeah, so at all of our service centers, all of the services that we offer within that center are all complimentary. So just being aware that some of these things are not covered under our warranty, such as tears and abrasions, but we're still able to offer these patches and services at complimentary of the guest. That includes our wash service as well. So if you live near a service center, they offer a wash service. Please don't hesitate to come in, even if you want to just come in and pick their brain about something. Like they love just having like conversations like about gear, and I think they want to geek out about everything just as much as y'all do.
Well, thank you for the invite, and I'm sure many of our audience will take folks up on that. So I want to review the kind of the pillars of ReBIRD so we have a clear understanding of what they are, and connect that really to the Arc'teryx's circularity principles and also GORE circularity principles, right? When I think of circularity, a lot of it is keeping product in the use cycle or use phase as long as possible, right? But then what happens? Right? And circularity brings that product back to other folks to use. There are different versions of circularity. This is to me, the lowest hanging fruit and one that you've solved. Being able to keep these products going from customer to customer along with repair, so that we aren't like dissecting products and reusing the raw materials. Just keep the finished products going. But what are these pillars of ReBIRD that allow us for that? Can you review these for us again?
Yeah, absolutely. So thinking about like the life cycle of our product after that initial point of sale, we within ReBIRD, we promote care and education for this product. So you have things like the ReBIRD service centers for the wash service, sending for repair. Then if you no longer want to keep your product anymore and it qualifies for our trade-in program, you have the ability to trade in, and then we can resell your product.
Mhm.
Another thing too that we have as sort of part of this circularity initiative is what we call recut. So that's where we're upcycling product. We're using material that we would otherwise throw away. So we can have projects where we do this for pre-consumer, and then we have product that we do this post-consumer. So it's new materials versus you might have traded in your product and we can't resell it. We might upcycle this during like things like special projects.
Yeah, and that's a whole nother dynamic, and that's a little more behind the scenes, but it's really fun to see these recut sort of one-offs or special products coming out. I have a recut wallet, for instance, that I use, which I love, and these are out there. It's fun to look for these special drops.
Yeah, absolutely. There's always something that we can do with the product that avoids it going to landfill.
Right now, there are a couple of alpha stores. Do we see this growing? Do you not know yet? We're still kind of waiting to see how this works out? Are we seeing capabilities build across your brand stores globally?
Yeah,
What
absolutely.
like?
So I've, from my personal experience, just working with the ReBIRD team, we're obsessed with numbers and statistics. So we're always looking at certain areas that have certain repair needs, or maybe we're getting product in for service that has a specific kind of repair. We're trying to find ways where can we evolve to uh, sort of prevent this problem, or how can we make these repairs faster or more efficient. So we're always looking for ways to evolve. We're always finding new places to try and open new service centers in certain communities or areas that have needs for these types of services.
Mm-hmm. On behalf of the ExperienceMore Tour, thank you very much for watching today. We love having you here. We love that you're curious and part of the community, so thank you so much. And a giant thank you to Avery for taking time out of your busy day, Avery, to join us and be part of what we have here and sharing your knowledge. It's been super insightful. Hopefully we can have you back soon to talk really about what's going on.
Yeah, I'd love to. It's a pleasure.